I woke up from surgery with stitches in my chest and betrayal in my heart. Because when I checked my phone after 6 long hours, I saw something no mother should ever see. A picture of my own children standing in my living room, holding boxes labeled, "Sell everything." And then the message that shook my soul. "Mom won't be coming back. We're taking the house." I wasn't dead. I wasn't dying. I was just healing. And my kids were already planning my funeral in their minds. My name is Margaret. I'm 67 years old, and I worked my whole life to buy my small 2-bedroom home in Ohio. It wasn't a mansion, but it was the place where I raised my children, celebrated anniversaries, and mourned my husband's death. That house held my entire life. I never imagined my own children would try to rip it away from me. 3 months ago, I had to undergo a heart procedure, nothing too dangerous, but the doctors insisted I stay overnight. My 2 kids, Daniel, 34, and Emily, 31, had become distant over the years. They rarely visited unless they needed something: money for bills, money for rent, sometimes even money for vacations. But I still believed they cared. Every mother wants to believe that. The night before my surgery, Dan showed up with flowers and Emily kissed my forehead saying, "Don't worry, Mom. We'll take care of everything." I did not know everything included my house. After my surgery, the nurse handed me my phone. I turned it on and my breath stopped. My neighbor, sweet old Mrs. Patterson, had sent me photos. Photos of my kids loading MY furniture into a rented truck. My sofa. My dining table. Even the old rocking chair my husband built. And then, the message she overheard. "Mom won't be coming back home. The house will be ours. We should sell everything before she notices anything." My chest didn't hurt from surgery. It hurt from betrayal. I called them. No answer. They knew exactly what they were doing. My house wasn't fully in my name anymore. A few years ago, after a painful fall, I added my sister as co-owner, not my children, because she was the only one who stayed by my side. My kids never visited. Never helped. Never cared. So I made a decision. The people who show up for you deserve your legacy. Not the ones who disappear. But my kids had no idea. They assumed I had left everything in their name because that's what good mothers do. Oh, how wrong they were. When I was released from the hospital the next afternoon, I asked my sister to pick me up quietly. We drove home without warning them. My heart pounded when we arrived. My driveway was filled with furniture. My garage was wide open. My front door had a giant sticky note. "Estate sale, today only." My own children were having an estate sale while I was still alive. I stepped into my living room, or what used to be my living room, and I saw Dan arguing with a buyer. Emily spotted me first. Her face went pale. "Mom," she whispered. "Why are you home?" "Because I'm not dead," I replied. The entire room went silent. Buyers stared. Dan's jaw dropped. "Mom, we thought you needed long-term care," Dan stuttered. "No," I said calmly. "You thought you needed my house." Emily exploded. "We deserve it. You're old. You don't need a house this big." "I deserved your love," I said. But I stopped getting that years ago. I walked to the center of the room and said loudly so everyone could hear, "This house is not yours. It has never been yours. And as of today, you both are banned from stepping inside it again." Daniel scoffed. "You can't do that." My sister stepped forward holding a folder. "Yes, she can," she said. And legally, she already did. Daniel snatched the papers and flipped through them. His face turned red, then white, then red again. "You put Aunt Linda on the deed," he shouted. 3 years ago, I said. Because she was the only one who took care of me. Emily started crying. Fake crying. The kind she always used when she wanted money. "You chose her over your own children?" "No," I replied. "You chose money over your mother." I called the police, not to arrest them, but to remove everyone from MY property. Buyers left. The truck was emptied. My kids were humiliated in front of the whole neighborhood. But that wasn't the end. I changed all the locks, blocked their numbers, filed a no trespass order, and updated my will officially. Every penny, every asset, every belonging was now going to my sister and a local charity supporting elderly women. My children? Not a cent. A letter came in the mail. My children wanted another chance. They apologized. They begged. But they didn't ask how I was. They only asked what would happen to their inheritance. Their inheritance. I burned the letter. Does it hurt? Yes. Losing your children always hurts. But sometimes, losing the people who hurt you is the only way to survive. And now every morning, I sit on that same rocking chair, the one my husband built. And I think, I may have lost my children, but I found my peace. And that is a much better inheritance. I stood in the hallway, silent, hidden behind the shadow of the bedroom door, listening to the two people I spent my whole life loving, plotting to erase me. My hands were cold. My legs were shaking. But my mind? My mind had never been clearer. They thought I was fragile. They thought I was weak. They thought the hospital had drained the last bit of strength left in me. But they had forgotten something. A mother may grow old, but she never grows blind. I stepped into the living room. Who gave you permission to sell my house? My voice didn't crack. It didn't tremble. It sliced through the air like ice. The look on their faces, the panic, the guilt, the fear. If I could bottle that moment, I would. Mark froze first. Mom, you were supposed to be at the hospital till Monday. Emily tried to force a smile that didn't reach her eyes. You should sit down. You're not well. Well enough to read contracts, I replied. Their eyes widened. Yes, I had seen everything, every signature, every forged document, every lie they whispered into the realtor's ear. You were going to sell this house behind my back, I said. My home. Your father's home. Mark swallowed hard. It's complicated. No, I snapped. It's simple. You thought I wouldn't survive the surgery. And you couldn't wait for my body to get cold before stealing what wasn't yours. The silence after that was the kind that suffocates. Emily opened her mouth again. We just wanted to help. Help. I laughed, loud and sharp. You hired a realtor without my consent. You forged my signature. You emptied my safe. You even tried to sell my husband's tools. Mark clenched his jaw. We needed money. We have kids. Bills. And you're alone. And that gave you the right to betray me? He didn't answer. Then Mark said the one sentence that broke something inside me forever. You don't need this house. We do. Not we love you. Not we were scared. Not we made a mistake. Just pure entitlement. My heart didn't break. It hardened. Get out, I said quietly. Both of them looked stunned. Mom, don't be ridiculous. I said get out. My voice thundered, louder than it had in years. They didn't expect that. They thought I was still the woman lying helpless in a hospital bed. But they forgot that I had walked into the OR with fear. And walked out with fire. When they stepped outside, I locked the door behind them. And for the first time in months, the house felt safe again. 2 hours later, I did something they never imagined. I called my lawyer. Not the family lawyer. Not the one Mark trusted. No, I called the one nobody knew about. I told her everything. Every document. Every forged signature. Every recording. And she said the most beautiful words I had heard in years. Don't worry. We're going to make them regret ever touching your house. 3 days later, my lawyer, Miss Harper, arrived at my house with a folder so thick it looked like a weapon. And believe me, it was. She sat across from me at the dining table my husband built with his own hands, spread out the documents, and said, they thought they were clever. But they left fingerprints on every mistake. I leaned forward. Tell me. She smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. Your children didn't just betray you. They committed 3 crimes. My heart pounded. 1. Forging a signature. 2. Attempting to sell an elder's property without consent. 3. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Vulnerable adult? I repeated. It's a legal term, she explained. The law sees what they tried to do as elder abuse. I sat back, breathing slowly. Elder abuse. My own children. But I didn't cry. Not anymore. Are you ready for this? She asked. I nodded. I'm more ready than you think. The next morning, we filed the case. And by afternoon, the storm hit. Mark was the first to call. His voice shook. Mom, what did you do? I didn't raise my voice. That depends, Mark. What did you do? Emily called next. She screamed, cried, begged, switching tones like a broken radio. How could you do this to your own family? Funny, I said. I was about to ask you the same thing. Then, they went silent for 2 whole days. Almost peaceful. Until the police knocked on their door with a notice to appear in court. A week later, we stood in the courtroom. Mark refused to look at me. Emily kept her head down. The judge was an older woman, stern, sharp, tired of seeing families destroy each other for money. Miss Howell, she said to me, do you wish to proceed with charges? My children looked at me with wide, desperate eyes. For a moment, just a moment, I saw the babies I once held. But then I remembered the hospital bed, the empty safe, the realtor contract. They're whispering. Yes, Your Honor, I said quietly. I do. The courtroom went silent. The judge nodded. Very well. Mark slammed his fist on the table. This is insane. The judge glared. You tried to sell your mother's home while she was undergoing surgery. What's insane is your behavior. Emily burst into tears. My lawyer stood. We have proof of every action they took. And my client wants full protection of her assets. The judge turned to me. Do you wish to maintain contact with your children? I swallowed. My throat burned. But my voice stayed steady. No, Your Honor. I wish for a restraining order. Gasps filled the room. Mark's sneeze buckled. Emily covered her mouth. The judge nodded. Granted. When the gavel hit the desk, I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. Completely, finally, free. And as I walked out of that courtroom, cane in hand, back straight, heart steady, I realized something. They didn't lose me because of the court case. They lost me the day they chose greed over love.